I want to show you guys something. So the lighting in my house is terrible. So I've been going around the house trying to figure out where I have good lighting. So I think this room is the best room, but I want to show you one of my favorite things. You see that squirrel? Isn't that awesome? Okay, well, I love it. Okay, this 10-minute clip I ran across yesterday. I spent a lot of yesterday going through my YouTube videos, which is seriously such a bore for me. I mean, I think I almost put myself to sleep trying to sift through what I think is relevant, important pieces of information. So I have a lot of compassion for you guys that have to listen for like an hour, sometimes an hour, 15 minutes or longer through these YouTube videos just to find a little bit of information. Holy crap. I mean, seriously, yesterday was rough. So I found this one YouTube video that was like, wow, Robin, you kind of know, you sound like you know what you're talking about in there. So this video is pretty awesome. The whole video, this was recorded 2 years ago, so March of 2015. Anyways, and it's about, I think it's around an hour and 10 minutes. This clip is only 10 minutes, so the link to the whole YouTube video is below. So in short, the next 10 minutes is me discussing fight or flight or survival mode, which is really relevant because when you're in survival mode, your brain changes where it puts oxygen, and the organs that are specific to fight or flight are more active, and so your symptoms are more sensitive. And your desire to fix it is more intense. So when someone comes to me, in fact, every single human person that I'm working with, well, everybody's human. It's not like I'm working with dogs, you know. Everybody that comes to me is in a state of survival mode. Their symptoms are all the same. I mean, all of you have all or nothing mentality, perfectionism. And if you say, well, no, that's not true. Well, it's because you're so overwhelmed by the perfection that you think you need to do that you don't even do anything. So you become more you're procrastinating because it feels too overwhelming to be as perfect as you're setting yourself up to be. Anyway, so I got to keep this shorter than the 10 minutes I'm posting. So this is such an awesome explanation of that fight or flight response, the survival mode. And it's really important when you're watching this to think about, is my fight or flight coming from wholly from my issues with feeling overweight, which is typical of someone who is, you know, bulimic, anorexic? Or is it coming from real life fight or flight problems? Whether it's coming from my family environment, my religious environment, is it coming from a spouse, a boyfriend or girlfriend, family, friends, children, where you're coping by thinking, well, maybe if I lose weight, those underlying issues will feel better? Or is it actually the ego around thinness that is creating the problem? Right? So when I work with someone, oftentimes just letting go of body image isn't the fix. For some people it is, and it's massive. Where other people have absolutely underlying issues where they're going to have to deal with divorcing a husband that is abusive to them, leaving a religion that they no longer feel that they can breathe in, changing their career path. I mean, there could be some issues. So go through your mind and think about, where is why am I seeking thinness to this degree? And ultimately, if I removed thinness from being what I have to do to get access to feeling safe in survival, do I have underlying issues that are there triggering it? So enjoy this video. Share it if you want. The whole video of this session is below. There's also a link to the Patreon group. That is where I am posting my most current YouTube videos. I've been posting in there since the fall, so there's over 30 YouTube videos. Also, I've come aware that a lot of you don't know I actually work with you guys. Most of the clients you're listening to are YouTube followers. So if you want to work with me, there's a link to my website below where you can fill in the request form and we can get you scheduled. So thanks for following me. Thanks for liking what I do. Thanks for your support, and enjoy this video.
Yes.
Okay, isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
I know, because it's so real when you think of it. It's like, oh, if I lost weight, I would be so much, life would be like a frolicking like pasture of daisies, and even this little stress would be, I would be able to handle this stress. It would be like, oh, no big deal, right? You're visualizing what it feels like to be safe.
Yes.
Right? And because that safety is actually the other side of survival. When you don't feel safe, you have to create an environment of safety. So you're surviving. You're trying to just survive, which means I'm just trying to stay alive. Okay? That sense of life on the other side feels relaxed, confident, profound. It feels like there's wiggle room, buffer. Feels like you've got all of this leniency. There's a lack of pressure. Am I describing that illusion very well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not an illusion, actually. That is the truth of when someone's out of survival.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all of a sudden you have room to just be yourself. The problem is this. You've attached it to being thin, as if you have to be thin first. When I'm thin, I can have it. Like this is my last need to survive. If I can fulfill this need, I will be there with all the rest of the skinny people who are so easygoing. Right?
Yes.
That feeling is stemming from the opposition of it, which is I am not, life sucks. Your first statement, I had a really bad week, right? That bad, that feeling of it's not good. I'm not safe. Comes from, I have to be perfect. There's pressure. I have to I have to defend myself. I have to make sure everything is in order. I have to work. We have to focus. There's no lenience.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel very unsafe right now. And any sense of safety is super fleeting.
Right.
And it's about to go away, right? There's this weird sense of threat as well. Yeah. And you're blaming it on your weight.
I believe I am.
Okay, so let's pretend that there is no weight loss available to you to feel safe. It's impossible. So that no longer weight is not the solution. It's not going to be a solution. It's not possible. Let's eliminate losing weight as a possibility, as a resolution. Tell me how that feels. So it's not a cause and it's not a solution. What happens to those feelings of my life sucks, I gotta fix this, everything's bad, I'm not safe, I need to get security, and I need to have like a lot of security around me for me to feel comfortable. What happens to that feeling if your weight is not...
It would be irrelevant, because it would be moot, because there's no end for the means.
So are you saying that if losing weight was not a problem, or if your body fat was not included in this sense of threat, that you don't have that sense anymore?
No, I would not have that sense.
Okay.
No.
So what this tells me is that you, sometimes people have a truly shitty life backing it. Like, my husband's beating the shit out of me. My parents are rejecting me. I've backed myself into a corner in this religion. If I leave the religion, everybody's going to shun me. So I don't have a source of income. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not me. I don't have anything like that.
Oh, that's great news.
Fall back on.
Yeah, that's not as common, but that does exist for some people, that if I don't, they think that by losing weight that they'll be able to tolerate their shitty life, right? They're in a bad marriage that's not good. They're living with their, an environment that's not healthy. So what they do, because they don't feel like there's an alternative to that, is they will try to seek refuge in body image. Okay, that's what I did. Okay. So if you take a step back and you can say, well, actually, in terms of like my life, if I could erase body image, like let's just say going blind. I've used that in my past videos and with other people. If you went blind, meaning you can't even see yourself anymore, what happens to your sense of insecurity and I'm going to die? What happens to this sense of inadequacy that has to be fixed first?
It instantly goes away because it's something else that makes the problem irrelevant.
Correct. Okay, so what that means is that the life that you have today is awesome. You actually don't have major problems. You have normal problems, right? Fighting with your spouse every so often, kids that don't listen to you, a child that's struggling, a job that's got a lot of demand. I mean, you've got normal life circumstances, but they're not outside of your sense of capacity. Right? However, they might feel that way now because you think that you're under fire, you're under siege, you're under attack because you're fat. Because you're fat, normal life circumstances feel catastrophic. Like I had a bad week, really bad. And I said to you, oh, did your child die? Did you get severe burns all over your body? And you were like, oh my God, you're right. Perspective. Well, it's very hard when you're psychologically in the brain. It's very hard to think in perspective when you're actually in survival. Because when someone's in survival, they take something that is like a pin, like this big, like a tiny little drop, like a tiny dot. To someone in survival, it feels like a huge catastrophic thing. Because that's how our brain's supposed to work in survival. Right? So it's like, if I could lose weight, then this is what my life would feel like. But because I'm fat and that makes me worthy of rejection, like I'm a rejectable person because I'm fat, everything feels bigger. Correct?
Yeah.
So if we could erase completely the pressure for you to lose weight, meaning your body right now is good enough, it's acceptable. Like you're good. Just get rid of it from the equation. What happens to this huge amount of stress with your real life?
Since it's not taking into consideration the negative aspects, it becomes just normal.
So it goes from being hypersensitive to not such a big deal. Yeah, that's a symptom. Your symptoms are in survival. The problem is that you actually believe that by being thin, you're going to have access to that sense of, oh, I'm safe, right? But here's the problem with this. When you lose this weight, tell me how that feels. When we go into reality of it.
It felt no different.
It feels very awful.
It felt no different. Matter of fact, it feels worse in a way because you then have to keep...
You have to defend?
The appearance. Yes, you have to defend
your safety.
What was done.
Yeah, it's kind of, I like to describe it like this. Once you get down to a body image that you think is safe, you have to defend yourself. You have to protect yourself. Who is the biggest threat? What is the biggest threat to your thinness?
I am.
Okay, I'm going to really want you to think about this again. So you're focused, I'm going to save myself, I'm going to free myself, I'm going to get safe, and you're starving, monitoring, obsessing over your weight, and you get down to this size, right? And you've been exercising, and you're crossfitting, and you're like low carb, and look at me in ketosis, right? And you get down to that body, and you're like, oh my God, everybody's like, good for you, oh my God, you're so successful, we're so proud of you, right? And you're doing all of this work and obsessive compulsiveness to maintain this, right? once you get down to the weight, what is the biggest threat to your body image?
That I would gain weight.
In that mentality, what is the biggest threat that would make you gain weight?
That I wouldn't have the food board.
The biggest threat is food.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Food and weight. Yeah, that's what
Okay, so this is where things go in a vicious cycle. The reason why you will never be free, you'll never get that freedom of, oh, it's because food is your biggest threat.